My name is John Guerra, the one with the computer that doesn't work all the time. But anyway, hopefully we're back on. I'm the state treasurer, and with me is Maria Gilson, the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee, and she will be doing most of the talking, hopefully. So Maria, let's go with the first slide. There we go.
Okay, good morning. I am Maria Gilson, as he said. I am the newbie, so I'm going to be relying on John for, the deep knowledge. I'm glad that you all could join us. This is different for all of us. I think I'm more nervous than if I were in person, but nevertheless, we are here. The first area of concern on any budget is what is coming in, what is our income, what do we have to work with? Since over 94% of our income comes from member dues, we must carefully estimate the number of dues paying members we might have in the upcoming year. Factors that affect membership include difficulty in recruiting new members. We all know that today's retirees are very different than retirees 10, 15, 20 years ago. What clicks for them is different what clicked for us. Loss of members due to death, we lose anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 annually. That's a lot of members. And yes.
By the way, the numbers that came out 2 weeks ago as to the membership as of May 1, we have lost 1,078 already this year.
Oh, wow.
So we're on track to at least get the 1,200. We'll probably be more than that.
Oh, goodness, that's sad.
So the message is tell these people to quit dying.
Well, yeah, that's true. We need to stay healthy, and we need to provide ways to make people aware of what they can do to stay healthy as much as possible. So that's one of the things that we hope to accomplish too, is like, what can we do as a group to stay healthy and, be active? We don't want people just, not having anything fun to do. And of course, we'd also lose cash members because they forget to renew. They just don't write the check for whatever reason. They become, just kind of, whatever. And then when we give gift memberships, they decide later not to join and other things. So
okay. The budget printout that hopefully you've all had a chance to look at the top of the first page, we actually have to make an estimate of how many members we're going to have. And so it's just a lot of guessing based on how many we lost last year, the next year. And this year we started a new program, the membership incentive program. Hopefully we're going to get some more members from that. We're investing a lot of money. I budgeted $42,000 to pay divisions to try to get people to join. And hopefully they're getting that. We've already had about 8 divisions finish their project, and we've so far spent $3,400 in incentives. Maria, you're up.
Okay, thank you. Next slide. How do we do that? Oh, you did it already. Expenditures. Okay, so that's how we figure how much money we may be getting in. And as we mentioned, we have a lot of reasons why we're going down. So we need to figure out, as John mentioned, incentives to have new members join. So once we do that, then we, when it comes to spending, you might think we have control, but maybe some of it is like anything else. There are certain things that you've got to pay if you're going to exist. So when we review each budget line, the questions that we ask include, how important is this item? What, how is it going to benefit us? Do we need to increase, keep it the same, or decrease this funding? What do we need to do? What can we do? Or can we even delete this item without harm to the program or the association? Which, there are times when we have to do that. Or is there a need to add line items, new programs, as John mentioned, the program for membership incentive, ideas, situations. So we're looking at different things that, how can we make this a better, more effective association? Okay, so now we have budget categories. We have 10 distinct areas in our spending programs. And we're presenting this as a summary so that we don't have to go to each line item. You guys have that available. If you didn't get a chance to print it, it is attached as one of the things that we provided for the session. If you didn't get to print it beforehand, you can probably go print it or at least review it on those handouts. So the way we broke this down is under administration, expenditures made by officers, directors, and other few miscellaneous items. The officer's budget totally is $4,350, and that's to manage all of CalRTA for 1 year. And again, we're assuming that we're getting back to normal because this last year was so abnormal. Director's budget total $10,630. That's again to operate all 12 areas of the state. And then miscellaneous items total less than $1,000. That's for a total of $16,000 for administration. Next slide. Okay, state meetings, except for personnel, which is separate, this is our most expensive area. The meetings include the Fall Leadership Conference, all officers, all directors, all state committee members. These are generally held at a hotel, which includes the room cost, the travel, the food, meeting rooms, and anything else that needs to go along with that Fall Leadership Conference. The estimated cost for 2022 is $61,000. The Delegate Assembly in May.
Okay, let's clear up. This year we had the problem with the virus thing.
Right.
So the Fall Leadership Conference did not happen. So in our current year, not the one we're looking at now, in our current year, we had budgeted actually about $110,000 because we included the division presidents. We were going to have them at that conference. Well, obviously that did not happen. So we saved that much money. So totally, when we talk about these costs, we budget them a year in advance. So usually we hope that we have enough money. This year we had some extra money. And just to let you know what we did with it, we made a couple of budget transfers, you might call, and we transferred some of this, quote, spare money into our investment portfolio. We've made one change of $250,000 from our operating budget into the investment account. And we actually just about 2 or 3 weeks ago did it again, which means we took $500,000 from our current budget into the investments. One thing that happens there is we don't get 0.1% interest. We work with Merrill Lynch, and the fellow that works with us has been working with us for the last 10 years. We're getting approximately 6%, much higher than a bank CD or anything like that. And they're not only stocks, they're bonds and all kinds of things like that. It's a mixture. So if one gets hurt, they don't all get hurt. So for next year, we've budgeted $61,000 for Fall Leadership because we did not put the presidents in. But if you look at the next item, Maria, the Delegate Assembly.
Okay. We did have a question about is the Fall Leadership Conference include the presidents?
This year, it will not. But look at the next item, Delegate Assembly.
Okay, Delegate Assembly in May. All officers, directors, state committee members, all division presidents. Similar cost as Fall Leadership Conference. The estimated cost for 2021, 2022 is $148,000.
That will be held, I think, at LAX in Los Angeles at the Hilton, if the hotels are open.
Okay, right, yeah, let's hope so. Somebody was asking too, this might be, they want to know if what we have with Merrill Lynch, if the divisions could also invest in with Merrill Lynch under the state's.
I cannot answer that, but the fellow that we work with, his name is Mark Johnson. If a division has substantial dollars, he can probably start an account with you. Remember, when you work with them, you have to pay costs for transferring money and all things like that. So if a division has substantial dollars, like $100,000, $150,000 to invest, if that division would give me an email, jwguerra, G-E-R-A @AOL.com, I could have Mark get in touch with them and see what they want to do.
Sounds good. Thank you. Board of Directors, the one not tied to other meetings. The other three are in conjunction with other meetings like training, orientation, planning, etc. This saves considerable costs. Estimated cost for 21, 22 is $66,000. Okay, area meetings. Local or area meetings arranged by area directors, usually one in the fall, the leadership workshop, and one in the spring as a preparation for the Delegate Assembly. We budgeted $33,000, the total for all 12 areas. Okay, state committee meetings. Meetings of the Communications and Technology Committee, the CTC, Government Relations Committee, GRC, Membership Recruitment, Retention, and Resources Committee, MRRC, Budget and Finance, Bylaws, and Nominations. The total budget is $17,000 for all. However, this is usually overspent due to new programs, but we know that and we have allowed for that, but we don't go crazy on putting too much in there, so nobody goes crazy spending it.
When you have 5 or 6 different committees and 12 or 13 people on each committee, things go haywire real fast.
But we've been able to take care of it, right?
That's why we have a contingency fund.
Right, so there's no problem there. Okay, the next area is publications. CalRTA Contact Magazine, the design, the printing, mailing, we budgeted $76,000 for that one. Office expenses, which is supplies, postage, equipment like copiers, computer repairs, etc. Office rental, taxes, bank fees, telephone, travel, etc. Total budgeted $119,600. Employee cost, of course, salaries, insurance, workers' comp, health insurance, payroll taxes, retirement, etc. The total budget is $397,000. Capital outlay and technology, equipment purchases and leases, internet and software update, excuse me, and website design and maintenance. Budget for that, $57,000. Membership and related costs, CalSTRS processing per member per payroll, recruitment materials, activities, teacher grants, membership software. That's a budget of $157,900. Professional services, all contracts, agreements with outside services, legal retainer, liability insurances, legislative advocate, IT consultant, communication and accountant services budget was $390,000. And our contingency is the unplanned or unexpected cost. We budgeted $40,000. So
this year, when we, the board, put together that membership enhancement program that we refer to as MEP, the total budget on that, if everybody gets all the dollars that they could get, it would be approximately $42,000. We have to get a whole lot of new members to cover that. And hopefully over 2 or 3 years, our membership would increase enough that we would even that out. It's like investing in members.
Yes.
But so far we're doing pretty well. Not everybody is asking for the full amount that they could have. Some are less, but they can't go over. If they go over, it comes out of their budget. So we do have a maximum cap on how much we will spend on that. But it will not throw the budget out of filter or out of kilter. So 40,000 should cover it. Total budget.
1,588,000. So that's
$1.5 million.
Mhm. Okay, this represents approximately 2/3 of our total budget. The other 1/3, or about 732,000, is sent to the divisions of the association. The board several years ago set the 1/3, 2/3 split between the state and the divisions.
This was a way of guaranteeing the divisions of having an income that is more or less predictable based on your membership. So again, if your membership goes down, like it has been doing for the last 10 years, when my wife and I joined CalRTA in 2013, we had approximately 52,000 members. We are now just over 32. That means in the last 8 or 9 years, we've lost a whole bunch of members. So that's why you keep hearing us harping about membership, membership, membership. And we're this year investing money, anything you can do. We didn't put any strings on this membership improvement program. It was said that we'll give you the money, do it. Whatever you want to do it, as long as you can explain your expenses and so forth. We did not say you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you must do this. We did not put any strings on that money at all. And I'm sure that out of the 60 or so divisions that are working on this, I doubt if there's any 2 or 3 that are alike. They all seem to have their own idea on what to do.
Well, that's all, folks. I hope that this was informational enough. Any questions? This is the time. And also, John's going to host the coffee clutch later on. And if there are any questions, then you can ask those. A complete copy of the budget is down as an attachment, as I said earlier, to the session's description in the little box marked DOCS, docs. If you have not done so, please review the document prior to voting on Thursday. A brief overview of the budget will be presented prior to voting on Thursday. If you have a major question and you don't get to ask it now, you can email it to John or myself, afternoon or evening, and then we will try and include the answers in Thursday's presentation. And there's John's AOL.com, JWGERA. So there's no reason why you can't get your questions answered.
All right, we do have a couple questions in here.
Okay, here, just finish this one off.
Sure.
Okay. At this time, we will try to answer as many questions as you may have. Please use the chat feature. Questions will be answered in the order received. We will try to give as complete of an answer as possible while trying to be brief so that more questions may be answered. As I mentioned earlier, John is scheduled to do the coffee clutch immediately following. Didn't you say that changed, John? Because Jim Mahoney is talking right after this?
Jim Mahoney is doing the one that's coming up right now.
Okay.
But mine is scheduled after my treasurer's presentation.
Okay. And he will continue to answer questions during the treasurer's presentation and of course the coffee clutch. So you have plenty of opportunities to ask your questions.
Okay, Adrienne, questions?
Sure. So one of the questions is, why are committee membership expenses down 11,000, but state meetings went up over 80,000 over expenses in 2019 and 2020?
One of the tools that we use for determining how much money committees, areas and so forth get is past practice. We look at what we gave them last year. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, committee expenses. For the current year, communication and technology, for example, we gave them $7,000 as a budget. As of the end of March, which is just a month ago, they had only spent 5,000. So it looks like they're not spending all the money they're offered. But as I always tell these people, if you need money, ask. That's why we build in a contingency fund. If legitimately they need money to do something, we always seem to find a way to move money around. This year in particular, like I said, we didn't have a fall leadership conference, which meant we had all of that money available for other things. Right now, we're having the convention, which normally costs anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000. We're not spending near that much money with these webinars. So we have money left over. So if a committee needs money, if a director needs money, if the president or whoever needs money for something, all they have to do is let Angelique or the president, who is now Jim Mahoney, or next year it's going to be Ron, or myself, let us know, and we'll bounce around some money somewhere. In other words, take it out of one pocket and put it in another, so that if the money is legitimate and the expense is legitimate, we'll find a way to cover it. But next year, when we do the budget, we'll look at how much they spent and we might adjust it for next time. Maria, your mic is shut off.
Sorry.
I didn't hear the pearls of wisdom.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
More questions?
Yes, someone else asked, where does Lobby Day fit within the budget?
Lobby Day is part of the Government Relations Committee. And they're, let's see, Government Relations. This year, current year, we offered them $4,000. And would you believe they've spent 13,000? They had a big survey that they sent out. I'm sure everybody has seen that survey of all the proposed legislation. And they were asking for opinions on how much we should push for them or not push for them and so forth. And they tried doing a mail survey of people who do not have internet or email addresses. Would you believe that approximately 20,000 people don't have an email address registered at our main office? If we were to send out a letter to each of those people at 50 cents just for the stamp, there's 10 grand. So as I said, things happen and we try to find ways to cover them. So just because the budgeted amounts are up or down, It's simply a guide. It's a proposed budget, just like you do at your house, at a home. You say, well, I'm only going to spend $50 per month fixing the car. Well, a set of 4 tires costs a whole lot more than that. So anyway, we work with whatever it is. These numbers are guides only. They give us a record of what has happened. We work with that, looking to the future. Next question.
Next question is the 2021-22 convention virtual, as there is no line item for income?
Hopefully it is not virtual. Again, it's in May of 22, approximately a year from now. We have made tentative reservations at the LAX Hilton. And if the hotels are operating normally, that's where it will be next year. So hopefully it's not virtual. And that's when we're also hoping to bring back the President's Conference. Remember, we have 81, 82 divisions, which means we have about 80 presidents. If you bring that many people from all over the state, averaging about $700 or $800 each, you can see how much that will cost. But the presidents seem to really like that conference. They think it's well worth the money. So we will continue doing that. And again, as far as I know, it will not be virtual. It should be face-to-face in Los Angeles. And the year after that, it will be back at the Hilton in Sacramento, if they're operating. Big if on everything.
Thank you. Another question is, can you please further explain why presidents are not included in the fall leadership expenses?
We have the presidents get together one time. Again, it's a very expensive item. We do it once a year. It's always been at the convention. We were going to try, for those of you that were around when we were setting up last year's Fall Leadership Conference, we were going to do an experiment. We were going to hold the Fall Leadership Conference not at a hotel. We had booked a whole bunch of rooms on one of the, what was it, Carnival cruise lines. We were going to go on a cruise and take the presidents with us. Well, obviously, when the little viruses went around, that stopped all of that stuff. So basically, last year's Fall Leadership Conference was canceled. This year, we're still not sure if the hotels are going to be open. So we have not, as far as I understand it, this year's Fall Leadership Conference will be virtual. But the Delegate Assembly in May hopefully is going to be face-to-face. Okay.
Perfect. All right. How much is legislative analyst line increase from last year? And does having 2 people cost us more?
Actually, the legislative analyst, that's David Walrath, for everybody that knows him. He actually is part of a law firm. He's an attorney in Sacramento, part of a law firm. The gal that's working with him now is part of that law firm. David, I have been doing these budgets for the last 7 years or so, and David's cost had not increased over that whole period of time. So for 7 or 8 years, he stayed at his contract, you might say. This year, he couldn't afford to do that because his office costs have gone up, etc. He's actually breaking in this new gal, who is very good, by the way. She's worked with the legislature with David for many years, and he's breaking her in. And actually, the costs of his contract absorb her costs. We're not paying any extra for her. we're paying a contract for the legislative advocate, regardless of who it is or how many it is. And if you notice, the same thing happened with the communications director. That cost went up this year because it's now a contract. It's not on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour payment. She's now under contract with a company that she works with. And the contract now includes many of the things that were separate costs previous. In other words, all her video work, photography work is not an extra now, it's included in her contract. That's just a little bonus. Question.
Yep, another question is there a push to put the Connect magazine online?
That question has come up. It's never been really explored, but one of the problems is that we don't have, like I said in one of the other questions, we have about 20,000 members who are not computer savvy, you might say. In other words, they don't even have an email address as far as we know, or they, for some reason, have not given us that email address. So if we put it online, we're going to exclude 20,000 members anyway. One of the costs of putting that magazine together is the setup and so forth. So some of those costs will be the same regardless of whether it's online or paper. So we're not sure how much money that would save, although some people, I think a couple of years ago, they were getting it online, but I'm not sure how many. But that's another thing we could explore.
Excellent. And I believe a couple people have typed in they'd like a little more clarification on the dates of the different events that you rattled off. Talking about the President's Convention and then the Convention Delegate Assembly. If you can state that one more time so everyone can capture the dates.
Okay. We are right now in May of 21. The next big meeting would be the Fall Leadership Conference, which would be September of 21. That, as far as I know, is going to be virtual because we don't have a hotel that is willing to guarantee that there'll be an operation. One of the things or the complications that come up is that when you contract with a hotel to have a convention, they have to also provide meals. If a hotel is open, are they completely open, which means their kitchens and banquet rooms, etc., are available? And right now, the one in Sacramento is not. They may have rooms, but they're not going to give you meals, etc. So that's the September of 21. The next meeting is the Delegate Assembly, which would be next May of 22. That's the one that's hopefully in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. And that would be a face-to-face, and that includes the division presidents if everything goes well. I'm sure there'll be more information coming out as the hotels give us information. But we have budgeted sufficient funds to cover the presidents if that happens. Okay.
Perfect. And can you please state your email address again?
Let's see if I can figure it. Oops.
The previous one, I believe, John.
Yeah,
How about that one?
Yeah.
There you go.
J.W. Guerra. Somebody asked me one time how I could get my initials and last name. When I got that, AOL was about 2 months old. I've had that for many, many years.
Wow.
More
That
questions?
No, that looks like it's it.
Okay. Oh, 9:30. That's about what time you
Yay.
were supposed to stop. I think we did pretty good.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you at other sessions.